Hey guys, I'm here with Tom Magliaro. He owns Houston's most successful hair replacement clinic. It's been in business for 45 years. I've always been interested in hair systems as an option to hair transplants and to other hair replacements. It's always very much intrigued me because a lot of rock stars wear hair systems, and so I've always thought that's kind of cool how they can keep their hair throughout their whole career. So I thought today I have Tom take us through the history of the hair replacement system so you can understand exactly how things have changed, what options you have today, and why things might have looked the way that they did in the past. And who better than someone who's been wearing a hair system for 52 years. So Tom, tell us your hair replacement story.
Well, my hair replacement journey started very early. When I was 20 years old, I began losing my hair. And it was hereditary. It was my mom's side, my dad's side. I had tried at the time a hair transplant, where we take grafts from the back of the head and transplant them to the crown to see if I were a candidate. I did a very small amount of grafts. At the time there were grafts, today they're more refined, and I was not happy with the result. Then I went to a hair piece store in New Jersey, where they were servicing some of the Hollywood people and actors, and they did a wonderful job. My hair looked completely natural. But I didn't like the idea of feeling like Superman during the day and then Clark Kent at night, taking it off and on. I wanted something that would give me the best of both worlds. And that led me into this business of ours. And I love what we do now, because now we have graduated from attaching the hair systems to one's own hair by creating a braid all around and then attaching the system. Then from there we went to an adhesive along the perimeter to hold the systems on. And now we have a lightweight lens that weighs about 1/8 of an ounce. And the solution that's used is a medical solution that holds the entire system in place, so you can swim, shower, shampoo, and treat it much the same as your own hair. And it's much more comfortable. It's light, it's airy, and it looks 100% natural.
So what are some of those changes throughout history?
Yeah.
What are some of the changes that have been beneficial? So I know, for instance, Andre Agassi has spoken about wearing a hair piece at one point during his tennis career.
Right.
He was worried about it coming off during his tennis matches and things like that. What were some of those worries and the aspects that weren't necessarily as good, and how would some of those things have changed? So if someone's watching this video and they go, "Oh, but my uncle used to wear one and he hated it because of da 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 da."
Right.
What are some of those things? Those problems.
But we do hear a lot of that.
Okay.
We do hear that. This is not your grandfather's hair piece that we're talking about anymore. This is a totally different approach to hair restoration. And in the days earlier, when we were in the 70s and 80s, up until 1990, we would have methods that you could look fine, but you could touch the attachment method. And I think that bothered people. So if someone were getting too close to them, it would be on their mind. I was involved with martial arts at the time, and I was concerned that if someone were to pull, would it pull or fracture some of my growth hair to which it was attached? And now today, the application method is strictly preparing a skin type lens on the next layer of your existing skin. So we have provided an additional layer of skin that already has hair injected into it and held on with a medical solution that keeps it in place. It's undetectable. You can't feel it. When I've gone on vacation with my wife, we go for massages together, and no one even can believe that this is not.
And they'll be massaging your head and everything.
And then when I'm done, I say, "Boy, did you feel my hair?" And they'll say, "Yeah, your hair's fine." I said, "This is not my own hair." I said, "It's hair replacement." And they're like, "No way!"
Wow.
It's
Do you
really
mind if I?
No, please.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I've never felt a hair.
You could see right in.
Yeah. I mean, I could run my hands through your hair,
And the method of attachment is you can't tell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Wow, so I mean, there's absolutely no way for me to see that it's not his hair.
In fact, I got to tell you a quick thing. I had to go to a dermatologist because my dermatologist had a 2-month waiting list to get me in, and there was something I wanted it checked. And while there, the dermatologist said, everything was fine, by the way, with the other thing, but I want to do a head to toe on you while you're here anyway. And she went through the whole top of my head, and I explained that this is not my own hair. And she says, oh, was it transplanted? How did you get hair back? And I explained that I'm wearing a lightweight lens right now that has hair on it that's part of my own, and it's attached to me. And she got on the phone and called her nurses in to look, and she's starting to refer people to us. It's like incredible. But awesome. To be that myopic, to be on top of my own hair and still not tell, was a compliment to our work.
Yeah, definitely. So to recap, Tom, what are the biggest changes throughout this evolution of hair replacement?
The biggest changes have occurred in the last 10 years, where we're no longer attaching something to the client's own growth hair, because that could cause some fracturing or some issues with their own existing hair. So now, with the membranes that we're using that are so lightweight and transparent, we can attach skin to skin, so there's no interference with someone's own growth hair. The other thing that's changed dramatically is we can ease you in with progressive hair replacement, because in the days prior to this, in the 70s and 80s, we had to have a fairly good amount of hair to camouflage the foundation that was holding the hair. Today, there is no camouflage. It's a transparent lens.
Because you can see right through it.
You can see right through. So we can take someone who has not had a good amount of hair or a respectable covering for a while and put a little bit of hair in, and then a few months later go with another lens that has a bit more, and over the period of the year build them up to a point where they will feel comfortable with just a respectable amount of hair, or feel they want a full head of hair.
That's interesting, because there's actually a popular YouTuber, obviously I'm not going to call him out, but who says, and he's nothing to do, he doesn't have a hair transplant or hair replacement channel, he's just a YouTuber. But I saw a video of his where he was like, I got a hair transplant, and he showed his progression, and he really, I'm sure, did not get a hair transplant. He is wearing a wig or hair system. And but I guess he probably did that and went through that progressive period. So it was like it kind of started to come back. So you can even be like, oh yeah, I started taking finasteride. Look, all my hair has come back, and now I've got a full head of hair. So, but that's kind of cool, because a guy is not going to just show up one day and go from completely bald to this beautiful head of hair unless they want to. They can have that progression. So if they want to say, hey, I started taking some medicine or these vitamins or whatever they really want is an excuse. No judgment on that. Then they can do that.
The amount of hair that someone has depends on what their expectations are. If they want a limited amount of hair, that's fine. If they want a respectable amount or build it up to a full head of hair, it's totally up to the client's expectation and taste, because when they say stop, we stop.
I hope this fills you guys in on the evolution of the hair system. I know I'm learning a ton, and I feel like hair systems is a really great alternative to surgery and to complement medication. And there's so many options that people have at this point in history. If you're losing your hair, you do not have to be a bald guy. And that's the reason that I started this channel, Hair Loss Hope, is to be able to make it clear that you always have an option at this point. You know, it's really at this point just about confidence and just about psychologically being okay with different alternatives, because you can look like you have hair. That's not the problem. The most difficult thing is actually just deciding which method you're going to choose, and then being confident and just being happy within yourself and your own skin once you choose that method.